Okay, YouTube, so the point of this video is to answer anyone's question about whether they should study philosophy in college. The reason I'm making this video is because I believe that a lot of people are sort of misled into studying certain things, philosophy being one of them, and that there are definitely questionable benefits to getting a bachelor's degree in a liberal arts or humanities field such as philosophy. Despite what colleges may tell you with their, they have advanced marketing techniques to persuade you certain things. So I'm going to analyze a few things about studying philosophy. First, I'm going to go through what type of person is ideal for studying philosophy, really who should do it. Secondly, why should you study philosophy if you're interested in it? What are the benefits? What's the why of it? What will this degree grant you? And do your goals align with that? And then finally, I'll wrap this all up into one to answer the question, should you study philosophy in college? Alright, so first I want to start off by saying I studied philosophy in college for the past 4 years. I'm at the end of my bachelor's degree and I'll be graduating in the spring semester. So I don't know if I'm biased, but I have a little bit of experience here. I'm not a PhD or anything, but I have studied philosophy the past 4 years, so I have experience in this field. I also went to a public university, not a private one, so that also may affect my my position a bit compared to those who went to private school or what have you. So keep that in mind. But I think generally the degree is standard no matter where you go. The electives might differ slightly in what's offered for electives. I know some colleges have more, specific or niche electives, especially if you go to like an Ivy League university or a top private university. They have the funding to do these sort of eclectic elective classes, which is not to say that you won't get good electives at public colleges. My school had some pretty interesting ones, nothing crazy, but for instance, I had one on science fiction and philosophy. That was pretty interesting. But anyhow, it's going to differ a bit whether you go public or private. I found the degree very easy. I have about probably a 3.8, 3.9 GPA, and that's with really minimal studying. Not minimal. I've worked hard, but definitely not studying as hard as people I know who've majored in engineering or finance or something. They've had to study much harder for the grades. So generally, I think if you're smart, it's not a hard degree to do well in if you're intelligent. Well, I'm going to get into that soon about what type of skills you need to be good at it, but generally I don't think it's the hardest degree. Okay, so it's not a useless degree, but it's probably not the best for getting a job. That's pretty much the takeaway point that I'm going to state now and reiterate later through through my analysis. Alright, so why don't I just jump into the meat and potatoes here. So first, what type of person should study philosophy? Is this degree for everyone, basically? Or if you're wondering, do your skills align with what this degree requires? Should you study it? Whatever. I'm going to answer that. So I think to study philosophy, first you have to have an interest in it. So if you've never thought about deep metaphysical questions of purpose, what's the purpose of humanity, what is this thing we call life, why are we here, or questions of meaning, what does language mean, what do our thoughts mean, do our thoughts have impact on the world, are our thoughts real or are they just contained in our minds? Am I the only mind out there? Do other people have minds? How could I even tell? If you've never asked yourself questions like this or similar questions about meaning and being, then you probably shouldn't even consider studying it because you don't have a bent that way. But you could always take an elective in your first year or two of college, and if you end up liking philosophy, then you can decide to major in it. So first I would say to study philosophy, you need to have an interest in philosophical questions. And I think it's pretty obvious what is a philosophical question, right? It's anything concerning our existence, the meaning of language, or the meaning of our being, and so on. But of course, philosophy's scope is broader than that, but those are like just the, I guess, core meat and potatoes types of questions you should be asking yourself if you're actually interested in studying this thing. Secondly, you have to be good at reading. So philosophy degrees require a lot of reading, kind of esoteric texts that most people, wouldn't ever pick up, like Immanuel Kant or Socrates, or Friedrich Nietzsche or something. These aren't easy to read texts, so you need to have a pretty high level of reading comprehension. So, I don't know, look at your SAT scores in the reading section, and that should give you a decent indication of whether you're good enough at reading to get on with this degree. And then finally, you should be, actually not finally, you should be good at writing as well, because this degree requires a ton of writing. Every class you want to have probably 2 essays, like 2 full-length essays, or one really long essay in the course, and then a bunch of smaller writing assignments. That's how my school pretty much did it. And then the exams always involve some kind of writing too, so you should get good at writing, or be good at writing, if you want to study this. And if you're terrible at writing, it's not really your thing, you're more a numbers person, I would strongly dissuade you from trying to study philosophy, because it's like someone who's not good at math wanting to study engineering when math is so fundamental to engineering. Okay, and then finally, you should be logical, and I don't mean you have to think in symbolic logic like P, N, Q, and symbols and stuff, but you have to be able to I guess, look at an argument, see the assumptions, see how the assertion follows from those assumptions, see how those connect logically. Basically, you should be able to form logical equivalencies in your head. If you don't know how to get from A to B in anything that requires logic, say an argument, it's probably not for you, because a lot of what philosophy is, especially more modern philosophy, like over the past 100, 200 years, is looking at an argument, what are the presumptions that it starts with, and it gets to this conclusion. How does it get there, and is that conclusion correct based on the assumptions of the argument? So if you're not a logical person, if you're more of a, I don't even know the word, illogical or maybe emotional person, probably not great for you. Although I'm not saying you have to be an emotionless drone to be good at studying philosophy. That's definitely not the case. Alright, so now we've seen what's the type of person who should study philosophy. See, why should you study philosophy? And to answer the why question, I think we should look at what are the goals of college in general. And if you were to say that, college is for learning, it's for enlightening your mind, I think you'd be wrong, because increasingly today it's about getting a job. So, we live in pretty tough economic times compared to, 30, 20 years ago. College graduates are relatively underemployed despite what the government statistics say. It really is highly competitive out there for good jobs. So before entering college, you should ask, is what I'm studying going to lead me to get a fantastic job? Because people like me who are starting the job search, we're suddenly realizing, a lot of positions today ask for technical expertise that we didn't gain because we spent our whole time reading esoteric texts from 1750 or 100 AD or whatever, and we didn't learn how to program or deal with accounting or something. So definitely question, what does the job market want, and how am I going to learn the skills that the job market wants? because you really don't want to end up at the end of the degree, kind of like I am, realizing you've studied somewhat arcane topics that don't like translate to the real world 100%. So yeah, if you have any proclivity toward business or accounting or something, I would choose that as your major and do philosophy as a minor or double major, and that would be great because then you could still get both worlds, like the analytic, quantitative, and then the more humanities, whatever side of philosophy, your passion. So combine the two. Don't just study one because you're going to end up a barista. I'm just kidding. You won't be a barista, but you might. You really might, actually. So, yeah, some people say college is about learning. It's about like enlightening your mind, expanding your mind. And what I have to say to this is, yeah, true, it is. But look, we have the internet now. The purpose that colleges serve as like a meeting place for people to exchange ideas and exchange opinions, and for the free exchange of ideas to take place, and this great mentorship between professors and students and so on. Yeah, sure, you can get that at college still. I've gotten it to some degree, but you can also get it on the internet. I mean, and I don't just mean reading things on the internet. I mean, you can contact professors. Some professors would be willing to video chat with you or take a phone call. You get their information. Say you're interested in some philosopher at Stanford and you want to talk to him, but you live in, I don't know, Minnesota. See if he'll take a phone call from you or have an email exchange or a Skype or something. Because many of them will be open to stuff like this. They like talking about their work. So don't think that you need to go to college just to interact with smart people. You don't. We have the internet, we have networking. If you live in a city, especially, networking is easy. Not easy, but more accessible. So the actual college campus itself isn't as important in this so-called information age. And also just the texts themselves. All the philosophy texts are free on the internet and at your local library. Your library probably has most important philosophical texts, and if not, they can order it for free using your taxpayer money, and you can take it out. It's like that quote from Good Will Hunting when he's arguing with this snooty upper class Harvard student in the bar, and the guy goes, "When I'm skiing in Aspen or whatever, you'll be serving me fries at the McDonald's drive-in," and Will or Matt Damon, not Matt, is that his name? Whatever. His the character Will says something to the effect of, "Yeah, but your degree cost $150,000 and mine cost 20 cents in late fees from the library," or something like that. The point, I mangled that quote badly, but the point is you can learn this stuff at the library or using the internet. It's all out there. What college gives you is the ability to talk about this stuff with a professor and get the lecture experience. Even lecture slides are online, though. Search philosophy lecture slides. You could probably find some from like Stanford and Harvard. Not even low-tier, top-tier universities. You can find their content online for free. And there's even free courses online now through websites. Well, I know one is Coursera, edX. I don't know if you have to pay for those, but they're definitely free alternatives if those are paid. So college has changed because of the internet. It doesn't give you all the benefits that it once did, or those benefits are not exclusive to college, is what I'm saying. So when you're thinking, should I study finance or should I study accounting, or should I go the passionate route and study philosophy with a minor in, I don't know, English or something? Definitely think about, how's the economy doing? It's not that great. It's okay, but it's not fantastic. What are the goals of me going to college? Do I want to learn and reach these higher ideals of being an enlightened individual, or do I just want to gain career skills and have that BS or BA or BBA degree that says I can do finance and accounting and business and you should hire me? Because that will give you an edge up when getting a job, I think. I don't think companies are dying to hire philosophy majors for their critical thinking skills, even though every college philosophy department website will say philosophy teaches critical thinking skills, which are very important to employers. Well, those don't necessarily translate to you getting the interview or getting the job. So I think colleges are often misleading. They're going to tell you, the rosiest story possible about any given major. So don't always trust their websites or their advertisements, because they're not completely accurate. They're in the interest of the college, not for you. So if you're passionate in studying philosophy, you're good at reading and writing, and you're a logical thinker, you should definitely consider studying it, or at least double majoring in it. But if the practical side of getting a college degree is more important to you, whether because of your financial situation or your goals in life, then I would say don't study it, or at least relegate it to a minor or something like that. Or just learn it in your free time using YouTube videos and books from the library and emailing professors, because it's a lot cheaper than spending, I don't know, $100,000 for private college, or however much it is for a public college degree. Alright, so signing off. Hope this helped your decision. Stay reading philosophy, whether you study in college or not.